Good day, everyone. I am Ruby Karisanga. I am taking Bachelor of Science in Entrepreneurship, and today I will be discussing one of the historical taxation systems in the Philippines called the Cedula Personal Tax, or also known as the poll tax. This system was once a requirement during the Spanish colonial period, and it had a significant impact on the daily lives of Filipinos. And this presentation, I will explain its background, how it's implanted, its effects on the people, and also give my reflection what we can learn from it comparison to our modern taxation.
What is Cedula? The Cedula is a poll tax, a fixed community tax paid by individuals, first imposed during Spanish colonial rule and symbolized colonial control and revenue collection. The word cedula comes from Spanish, meaning certificate or document. Historical background introduced in 1884 under Governor Domingo Moriones. During his governance in the Philippines, his administrative reforms aimed to improve infrastructure and governance, strengthening Spanish influence in the archipelago. It was a tax paid yearly by Filipino adults, which also served as a proof of identity and residency. It was required for the official transaction, such as travel, marriage, or signing legal documents. The Cedula Personal Tax was first introduced in the Philippines during the Spanish colonial period, especially in 1884 under Governor General Domingo Moriones. The cedula was a kind of identification document and proof that a person had paid the poll tax. Every Filipino, male and female above a certain age, was required to pay this tax yearly. Once they paid, they received a cedula which functioned as a resident certificate. It was also used for legal transactions, such as traveling, getting married, or signing official documents. In short, without a cedula, a Filipino was not recognized officially by the colonial government. It became both a tax and a tool for control by the Spanish authorities. Interestingly, this tax becomes a symbolic of colonial oppression that during the cry of Pogadlawin in 1896, Katipuneros upped their cedulas as an act of defiance against Spain. The cedula personal tax had both positive and negative impacts. On the positive sides, it provided revenue for the colonial government, which was used for administration and infrastructure projects. It also served as a form of identification, which in some ways helped organize the colonial system. However, the negative effects were much greater. The cedula was a burden especially to poor Filipinos who could barely afford to pay it. It was a symbol of inequality because the rich could easily comply, but the poor suffered consequences if they failed to pay. The cedula also became a symbol of oppression and colonial control since it reminded Filipinos that they had to pay in order to be recognized as a part of society. When we look at the cedula personal tax and compare it with modern day taxation in the Philippines, we can see similarities and difference. Today, we will listen. We will still pay taxes such as income tax, value-added tax, and real property tax. Like the cedula, these taxes are meant to generate revenue for government and projects and services. However, unlike before, today taxes are supposed to support the welfare of citizens, such as education, healthcare, and infrastructure. The lesson we can learn from history is that taxation should always be fair and just. It must not be a burden that oppresses the poor. Instead, it should be a tool for nation building and equal opportunity. In conclusion, the cedula reminds us of the importance of responsible governance and fair taxation. It also shows us how something as simple as a tax document can spark a revolution when people feel abused and unheard.